What is up, everybody? Scape211 here with some more Mech Arena, and today we are getting into another Is It Good video, and we are going to focus on the plasma cannons. Now let's just ask straight away, is the plasma cannon good? No, I do not think it's that good, and here is why. Number one, the plasma cannon is short range. The ideal range for this weapon is 45 meters, 75 meters max. Now, most endgame weapons, or weapons that you're going to want to invest into, are longer than this, at least 75 meters, pretty much every single one of them. And it's going to make it hard for you to compete with this weapon, where before you can even start doing damage, you need to close that gap of distance. Now, some of the best mechs for this are the brawlers, right? Your Brick House, Ares, Juggernaut. So they're slower, so it's going to take them a little longer to close that gap. But because they have a big body, they're kind of the best design for getting in close and fighting the enemy. Anything else that's too squishy, it's going to take too much damage and die. But that's the problem with this weapon. No matter who you use and whatever mech you put it on, you're going to take damage. There's not really going to be a whole lot of instances where you can get close without taking damage. So for that reason, it's not really that great. Number two. The plasma cannon family is a bad energy set. What do I mean by a bad energy set? I mean that it is a 2, 4, and 6 base energy set. Now this is good early on in the game, and you'll see other weapon families, other weapon sets like the RPG and the Thermal Lance in that same range of energy. But as you start upgrading mechs, this is gonna become more and more useless. There's not a whole lot of times you're ever gonna use the 2-1. And there are probably few instances where you're going to be using the 4 version as well. And the more you upgrade, the only one that's going to become useful to you is the 6. So out of the whole energy set, or the whole set of plasma cannons, really only one of them is all that useful. That's really not too great. Number 3, too expensive early on. If we go to our prize path and look at the plasma cannons, it is one of the first, or actually it is the first uncommon item you have access to, the first 2-star item, which means that it's pretty tempting and it's pretty strong. The plasma cannon 4 is the first one available. It's going to be stronger than anything you have at that point, and it's going to look very enticing, very tempting. However, it costs 8 coins to unlock. Now, it's not a lot of A coins, a little bit over 100, but that early on in the game, you really don't have too many A coins. And without really knowing it, you're going to want to spend your A coins pretty quickly. If you look just a little bit down the prize path, there's Panther. Panther is one of the best, if not the best mech in the game. But he also costs a little bit more A coins to unlock, 275 A coins. That's a lot for early in the game, but it is well worth it. The same cannot be said for the plasma cannon 4. It's something that you'll spend A coins on early and really only use in the early game. And for that, I think it's probably a bad decision. And it's the same thing for the plasma cannon 2. And like I said, both the 2 and the 4 are the worst in the set for the plasma cannon. So spending these kind of A coins on this stuff early on the game is too much. Number 4, the plasma cannons do not scale well. Like we said, pretty much all the plasma cannon family is too low in its power quality and its power level. The one that is probably the best is the plasma cannon 6. And like we said, that'll get used on brawlers, but it'll also get used on some other ones like Shadow. But the problem is, this is at best a dual-based weapon that's 12 energy. All of the brawlers have a higher energy capacity than that. Your Juggernaut, your Ares, and Brick House all have 18 base energy. That means there's 6 energy that you're not using if you're using dual plasma cannons on these brawlers. Now, they might be good for mid-tier if you're only taking something to 3-star, but once you get past that point and you want to upgrade some of those and have a brawler, this is probably not the best weapon for you to reach for. You're much better off using other weapons that have more range and do better with the brawler position, like missile racks, or probably even the carbine family is going to be better for those instances. The plasma cannon just requires you to get too close, too much sustained damage, and because it's only a 6 based energy weapon for the brawler family, it's not going to be good. So who is it good on? Well, really the light mechs is the best, because those are going to get all the way up to 12 energy, and that's going to be the max for this weapon set, specifically the 6 base energy. So that means probably only 2 mechs I would see this useful on end game, and that would be MD, just because he can heal back some of his damage if he gets hit by it, and Shadow, just because he can get close to the enemy and use it in that way. Both of those mechs are decent mechs, but even those aren't the best to invest to. So what you're looking at is mechs that are only subpar to invest into, and a weapon set that's pretty much subpar to invest into. And there are definitely much better resources or much better mechs and weapons that you can spend your resources on before you get into using this one. Number 5, the upgrade ability is poor. If we look at the plasma cannons, we'll see that its upgrade process or its upgrade ability is damage score bonus. If you don't know what damage score bonus is, we'll check it out here. It basically is a bonus to the end of match score for dealing damage using this weapon. So instead of doing anything that helps you in combat for this weapon, which is already going to be difficult, all this does is rewards you with a higher damage score at the end of the match. Now, this isn't a bad thing, because if you're playing tournament, you want to get the highest score possible so that you get the most amount of each of your matches. And that's definitely a good thing. But it's a risk-reward situation with this weapon. If you use this weapon, you're going to take damage. So that means that while you use this weapon, you may only get a couple kills, and you'll have to, rely on that damage score bonus to give you any benefit. Whereas if you use other weapons that are more commonly used, like missile racks, or long arms or something else that's highly damaging but can allow you to get like at least 5 kills if you play well, that's definitely a higher end score that you're going to have with that versus this weapon. The only other weapon that uses this damage score bonus are the rocket mortars, but that is a much better weapon to put it on, because those can stay safely at the back of the map and shoot enemies and get at least 5 kills, if not more. I mean, if you've seen people use rocket mortars, you know what I'm talking about. You can easily get kills with those. And with the damage score bonus, it makes sense for that weapon to have that ability. But it doesn't on this. This needs something that helps it in combat. I'd love to see an ability like energy transfer, that when you're in that optimal range and you're shooting the enemy, some of the damage that you deal comes back in life to your mech. So it kind of takes some of the sting out of the damage that you're taking for being so up close. But this ability is not really good for this weapon, and it just further shows that it's just not a good option to invest into. And finally, number 6, these weapons, the plasma cannons, are bad for challenges. If you've ever had certain weapons or mechs or certain things that you've tried and realized you don't like, you cringe when you see it in one of your challenges, where you have to use Lancer to jump away from the enemy, or you have to use Paragon to get a certain number of kills. It's always a pain, because these are mechs that you probably got, tested out, and you haven't invested into and you put on the shelf. So when they come up in challenges much later on, it's a pain, because now your power level is much higher and these weapons and these mechs are really weak. For that reason, I would say it's not even worth unlocking any of these weapons in this set if you're not going to use them. Even the 6. If you're questionable about using the Plasma Cannon 6, I would say don't unlock it. At least not for a while. Work on other weapons and other stuff that is far better than it, and then worry about it. Because once it comes up in a challenge and you have to deal with it daily, it is going to be annoying, and it's going to slow down your overall progression. All right, well, those are my reasons why I think the Plasma Cannon is not that good, and just really something you shouldn't spend a whole lot of time on. Do you agree or disagree? Feel free to comment below your thoughts on this weapon. And as I've said before, if you have other weapons or other mechs that you want to see in the Is It Good series, please comment below, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.